Hey there everyone, I wanted to do a quick video of me making a succulent planter. Quick is a bit of a misnomer here because I'm thinking that this might be quite an extensive project, but I've been kind of having a wild hair this year about doing some things with succulents, so I'm gonna take you along for the ride. This is a planter that I got at a greenhouse, and I have always loved the volcanic glaze on these, so I thought it was going to be perfect for a succulent pot. It's kind of a nice neutral color, it's got hints of green in it, so it's going to work perfectly, I think. But what's the plan? As you can see, I kind of have a spectrum of color here. The goal is to do a color wheel, so it's going to be kind of like a rainbow going in a circle, and then we're going to have maybe some white in the center. I will show each one of these individually though for you, and I will put the title underneath the screen here because I don't know what all of these are, but if I have the name, I will put it up for you. Alrighty, now that I've introduced you to some gnarly visuals there, hopefully it wasn't too vertigo-inducing, what's the plan? So next we're going to go ahead and behead some of these taller ones. So like this is not going to work in a platter like this. The current plan is to leave maybe an inch and a half of neck on there. That way they can be stable in the pot. And we need to leave all of these to dry for a day as well. So this one is also going to get beheaded, and I'm going to pull the rosettes off of this one as well. But the nice thing is, I think I can leave a little bit of plant there so that this can kind of regenerate, and we'll also be planting some of the leaves to see if we can get more starts. But here we go. I'm gonna come in here and I'm just gonna show you where I'm gonna make the cut. We're about right there. Sometimes these stems can be very woody, so I'm just gonna make a score and then I'm gonna try snapping it, and that worked. And then we're gonna let this sit there and dry for about a day. I'm just gonna line them up right here. And then this here, if I lose any leaves off of there, I might just set them on top here. You can already see that there's a baby growing, and this also might grow offshoots. So we're not gonna waste anything here. We're just gonna take it as it comes. But let's do this guy here. And then of course I'm gonna remove a few leaves right off the bat here, just to make this usable. I think that's a good spot to quit. So again, we're gonna score. And there it is. And this is what's left over. It'll still become a new plant. This one is complete now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove leaves off of these cuttings. And I hate to cut this one because it's such a cool bonsai look. I can actually see a few green pieces here, so I'm gonna try cutting it above here, and then we'll get some length on this guy as well as this guy, and we'll make 3 separate rosettes. There we are. Okay, so we saved the green bit right there. So hopefully that'll rebranch out. I grabbed a few more out of the tray. We're gonna cut up this guy because he's pretty tall. And then we're also going to cut up this one because that isn't gonna work. So we'll come in at about right here, and then we're gonna pull it back to about there, I would say, with the leaves. Just get a nice crown. Sometimes if you just cover up one of those leaves, you can visualize what it'll look like without. I'm gonna keep going. And we have tons of little sprouts now. We've reached a good stopping point for the evening. We just got done planting up all the extra little leaves. No doubt this will probably be full by the time I get done with all of this, but we did all of these cuttings over here, and I think these are going to regenerate well. It'll be kind of fun to watch these, and these are all the cuttings we have. Of note, these are not cuttings that I did. I had ordered these online because I was having issues finding anything red at my local greenhouse. So those two were additions, but these are the cuttings we have so far. And over here is all of our rosettes. I'll show you what I'm gonna do with these guys when we get to planting. And in a TV minute, we are back. I arranged the succulents kind of in order here from basically in the spectrum of the rainbow. So we're starting with the warm colors and going to the cool spectrum. My goal is to have basically the white or near white varieties like this guy here, or for instance, the Echeveria Lola, go more towards the center. And that way, everything in the center will be a lighter color going out to the more vivid shades towards the edge of the pot. So hopefully it works out. We'll see how it goes. Of note, I have a few lower growing succulents here that will work well towards the edges as fillers. So I'm really hoping that we have enough here. I think we do, but we'll see where it ends up. For soil today, I'm going to be using a 60% perlite mix mixed with Pro Mix. So I either use Pro Mix or Sunshine Mix. It's a quality potting mix, but the main key with succulents is to ensure that it is airy so that they do not root rot. And then as a top dressing, I'm just gonna go with a very thin layer of just normal potting mix. We're going to be top dressing with some volcanic rock today, and I don't want it to be too much that it holds too much water, but at the same time I don't want a lot of perlite surfacing on the pot, because if that happens then it kind of destroys the look. So without further ado, we're going to get this show on the road. I'm going to go ahead and just start the process by covering the hole in the bottom with a small rock. It'll still allow for drainage, but I don't want all the dirt going through the large hole. And then we're going to come right in here with my potting mix. Again, very heavy on perlite. We don't want these guys to get waterlogged. And we're also going to just mound this a little bit. It's succulents, so we can kind of break the rules a little bit. Alrighty, I'm liking that. I'm going to start with the darkest colors and work my way around, and we'll go from there. So I got the string of rubies planted down here. And that's going to be fun to have that overhang. And then I'm going to just start by placing this large red rosette right on the edge. I'm going to tease some of this over here so it isn't growing straight up. I want it kind of at an angle to be mounded. It's okay to have perlite under the rosettes, I just don't want it to kind of infringe on around these smaller cuttings. So we're gonna start packing in a few of the orange ones right along here. I might actually try and stagger it a bit and put this guy right up there, so that way it's more of a randomized effect. We have a couple options. I'm liking this vibe. That or else we could go completely random and throw yellow in the mix. I'm thinking let's do this, and then I'm gonna overlay this. The moment I saw that Aeonium lily pad, I knew I wanted to kind of drape it. Plus it'll give a little bit of architecture to the pot because you have that going on with the stem. What I'm doing off camera on these potted ones is I'm just trying to remove some soil without completely ruining the roots, but succulents are pretty durable, so if you do lose a lot of roots, they will resprout, but that's about as far as I'm going to take this one. And the goal here is I want that nicely draped right on top of that sedum. I'm going to tease the roots off camera here. We're back over here by the planter. We need to decide what angle we want to work here. I'm thinking something like that. I'm trying to decide how I want to work this guy in. He, I think, will work really well right in the center as an architectural piece. So I'm gonna sneak him in right now. And that way we can use him as the basis for the rest of the project. We're getting into the green spectrum now. We removed a lot of the soil ball here, but there's a lot of good roots left on that. So I'm gonna shake it one more time because there's a leaf in there. I'm thinking this will be a nice transition right there. But before we do that, let's sneak in these few Aeonium rosettes. And I think this will look really nice right in there. It plays nicely off of this, so we're gonna go for it. And the nice thing is that'll give some depth, it'll give a little bit of a mound. Snuggle that right back in like so. Now we have a little hole right there. I did cut off a few stems off of this guy, so we're gonna sneak him in right there. I feel like sometimes in the plant world, it's just faking it until you make it half the time. Which I kind of feel like is what's happening here, but hopefully it's been a good show so far. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna sneak one of these larger rosettes up in here. Now we'll focus on the last section. I kind of like the idea of this one right up in here. Okay, we're gonna regroup here. This is turning into a fiasco. I need to get deeper in the pot here, and it's just not working. So I'm gonna dig out a bunch of dirt, and that way I can get this blue chalk succulent planted because it has such a long ball on it. I'm gonna take a minute just to show you. Check out the stem on this guy. It's fuzzy. I'm gonna tear off a chunk of this and we're gonna merge it into the purple. I forgot to use this guy, and he's kind of a wow piece, so let's sneak him in here. I'm gonna use him instead of this one, I think. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna use some of the extra cuttings just to fill in a few of these spaces. As you probably guessed, on my succulent planters, I don't like a lot of dirt to show at all. It's kind of like my landscape. I want the dirt to be functional for the plants and I don't want to see it. So what I'm gonna do, like I said, is I'm gonna use some of the leftovers and fill in. And the crazy thing is, out of all those succulents I bought, these are the only ones over here that I have left. We're pretty much done here, but I'm going to sneak some lava rock underneath this section here because the perlite really shows. I just got done watering this planter in, and I wanted to talk briefly about the intent of a planter like this. Each one of these plants is not in an ideal situation, but succulents are very durable. They'll be just fine until the end of this season, and then we can do one of two things. We can just kind of let it set over winter, obviously under some really bright lights, or else we can kind of tear it down, pot up each one of these individual succulents, and then we can rearrange it into something else or do the exact same thing again next year. But thank you guys for joining me on the process of making this succulent planter. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them in the comments section. Obviously, over the coming weeks, this guy is going to do some growing, and we're probably going to have to do some resetting of plants in there, which is very common for any tightly packed succulent planter, but as you can see, it looks pretty good right now. Thank you for joining me again on this process. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I hope to do a lot more content for you in the future. Have a great day. Most of all, thank you for getting to this point and watching. I appreciate your tolerance. Ooh. Did I break another leaf? Did not, okay.